Oh, absolutely. It is. Yeah,
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Deadhead Podcast, episode 42. That's what I put in the
42.
thumbnail, isn't it? 42, baby. We're back here. We're super excited to be back for another great episode of Deadhead Podcast. We appreciate you guys checking us out. And with that being said, we'd like to introduce a new guest on the Deadhead Podcast. We have the Arcane Payne, badass name, by the way,
Hell yeah.
on the show to talk to us about games and other nerd shit. Payne, how's it going, man? Talk to the people.
The day is going great. I've like Sunday, no work. You know, you just chill and play games as much as you want and stuff like that. So yeah, can't really complain that much, to be honest.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I know. I was telling the wife the same thing, and not to bring any, nothing terrible, but like the wife, she's been wanting to do a lot more stuff today, and I told her like, no, Sunday is a day of rest. I'm going to play video games and I'm going to do absolutely nothing but come on and talk to the guys about games and shit like that. Jan, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, well, it's mostly fine. Can't really complain. It is Sunday, as you guys said. I've just been a little under the weather lately. I don't know what it is. I think it's literally just the weather,
Yeah. I hear you, man. I hear you.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm fine.
Good, man. I'm doing great, man. The only thing is this weather over here in the States is like back and forth. 1 minute it's like freezing cold, next minute it's kind of warm, and so my skin starts to get really, really like ashy and peeling and things like that. I literally just had to put like a bunch of lotion on my face and like my hands because this weather's killing me right now. But other than that, doing pretty well. Can't complain, man.
Dude, you can go through all 4 seasons over in Ireland in one day, like I swear.
Dude. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, and where I'm at, it's on the East Coast. It's the weather is just constantly something different. You could wear swim trunks and a tank top one day, and then you're out in a winter coat the next. So this weather is just really messing with my skin. So, but other than that, it's good, man. I'm excited, and I thank you, Payne, for coming on the show, man. I'm excited to go over some topics, which really I don't really have many topics. Me and Jan were discussing like what we could talk about, and Jan was like, you know what, let's make our guest the topic of the show. So I think we're just gonna talk about some things you're interested in and just kind of go from there, if that sounds all right to you.
Oh no, I wasn't prepared for this. I'm going now. Yeah, all good.
Real quick, just to get some
pressure.
housekeeping. Yeah, no pressure. Yeah, no pressure at all. Housekeeping, by the way. If you guys haven't already, be sure to follow us everywhere. Should be our link tree in a bio on every respective platform: YouTube, X, Instagram, all that good stuff. Our TikTok. I also have all of Payne's information as well. It should be in the comment section of the stream. If not, I'll put it there later. Go check out all of his stuff. Any of our viewers, if you're any of Payne's viewers, thank you for checking out the Deadhead Podcast. Hopefully, you'll be around for more shows in the future. And also our Apple Podcast listeners, I will eventually have you guys up to date. I'm sorry, I'm really behind on that. I'm like 20 episodes behind. Eventually, you'll be hearing this on Apple Podcasts. Hello to you guys as well. So anyway, with that being said, before we get into like some other things that I want to talk to Payne about, because we were actually having some interesting conversations before the show started. So one of the reasons that I reached out to Payne, I reached out to him a while ago, is because we had a mutual, I don't know if we have a mutual friend, Payne, so correct me if I'm wrong here.
No, we do.
Emma from Once Upon a Quest.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Super cool lady. We had her on the show. She was super fun to talk to. My first question for you is, I mean, do you, I'm sure you watch her channel, keep up with her. She's been playing The Last of Us Part 2 for a very, very long time. Do you know her personally, or that's how I found you? I think you shared one of her posts. Do you know her personally, or are you just a viewer of her channel?
Emma's a legend. I actually found her on YouTube. Like, I like to kind of just go around and have a look at various people doing Let's Plays and stuff, because I like to see their reactions to some parts of said game and stuff like that. And she was playing. I can't for the life of me. She was playing. What's it called? Plague Requiem. You know that game where you're so she was playing that anyway, and I was watching her, and like some of her, like when she gets to certain times in the story when stuff happens and all, her reactions I just thought were great and stuff. But so I reached out to her because I knew she was Irish, so I was like, hey Emma, how's it going? Like I'm Arcane Payne, like I'm Irish too, and I invited her along to the conventions, because I do go to a lot of conventions over here in Ireland and stuff like that. So I wanted to kind of bring her out and meet a lot of the Irish community. and stuff like that. So I got her introduced her to a lot of the big heads and stuff like that are in the Irish community, and like most of others as well and stuff. And yeah, she seemed to get into it. She seemed to really enjoy it and stuff. And her videos lately have been very good. Like you said, she's playing The Last of Us Part 2. She just recently finished it. And yeah, I got to talking to her on Instagram a lot about like her choices and the stuff that happens in the story and all. And yeah, she really enjoyed it. So I think she's looking forward to the next game as well, which I don't think I can say, but you'll see what it is when it comes out anyway.
Well, actually, I think I might already know what it is. And Jan, you'll appreciate this, man. Is it Resident Evil? Is it Resident Evil 2?
It is Resident Evil 2 remake.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and that's a real treat, man. I think that's gonna be a fun one to watch because she had like one of the things I really like about her is she's very. Me and Jan have talked about it extensively, and Jan, you can give your piece on it as well. She is a very animated character in the best possible way because like when we had her on the show, like she was just like comically just super funny, but was saying like very little. Like her facial expressions are like awesome, and so like, she'll be like she's a very whimsical person, very happy, very positive. She was a real treat to have on the show. So I was just, I'm sure Jan agrees more or less.
Oh, yeah, no, her energy was very contagious. I agree.
Yeah. We've been clamoring to have her back on the show, but we were scared that maybe
especially now she finished.
She finished The Last of Us Part 2. And I mean, I don't know how much you've checked out the show, Payne, but I mean, we love The Last of Us. We love it. Last of Us Part 2, for me, not as much, but I still really, really like it. I've come to appreciate it more as time goes on. But I'm gonna be honest with you, and not that we don't have to get into this, but I was like, I booted up The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, so like it just dropped again for like the $10 upgrade. I played it for like 3 hours and I put it down. I can't get into it for some reason anymore. Like I've beaten it twice. I've beaten the game twice. So I've beaten the original like 7 times. I've beaten Part 2 twice, and I don't know what it is, but I cannot get into the story again. So I don't know what it is.
It's a very tough game to play, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Just thematic ways, it's.
Well, and I feel like those types of games are something that you'd want to experience maybe once or twice. You wouldn't want to keep going over and over and over with it because you just get sick of it after a while, really. Do you know what I mean? With those types of games, though, I feel like the stories are just amazing and stuff. Like I loved 1 and 2. A lot of stuff got put into my head about 2 because of everyone freaking out about certain things about happening in the game. And I'm sure you guys know and stuff like that. And then then I played it myself and I was like, this isn't that bad. I mean, like, but like I feel it was told like in a wrong order, if you get me. There were some bits that happened during the story, and I'm like, they could have really put that there and that there, which probably would have kind of like made a lot of more people like it and stuff like that. But then in the end, what is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I had the same experience when playing Part 2, right? Also, because I heard a lot of shit about it, but as I was playing, I was like, okay, so when is the bad part coming, right? Because I didn't go into detail, right? I didn't actually read the spoilers. I just knew there was a lot of people being very dissatisfied with it. So I was playing it. I was like, okay, where is the bad part? When does the game start being bad? But yeah, reading through the whole discourse again, I kind of see where they were coming from. But that's a whole other kind of worms.
Yeah. We don't want to go too far into that because that was actually something that we wanted to bring Emma back on for, was to get her like full analysis of that. Yeah, to get her full analysis of Part 2, because I know she's had some. I've seen some posts of hers where she goes into a little bit of detail, but she hasn't went into too much into it. I've tried to blind myself away from it because honestly, I don't really know how she feels as a whole on the game. So I wanted to wait till she came on the show for that, but she might be too big for us now, man. Her channel is like a 1.3 thousand subsibers. I don't know, man.
She wouldn't ditch us.
I don't know, man. I think
she'd love to get back on. I'd be fairly confident she'd love to get back on. She said you guys are awesome and stuff like that from when I was saying to her, I was like, oh, I'm going to be on the Deadhead podcast. They're like, oh, yeah, awesome. Those lads are lovely and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure she'd be down.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, if she said that, yeah, well, we really appreciate it. She's awesome, and it was a good time to have her on. But yeah, so I think that's mostly where I heard about Payne, and I was like, let me check out his stuff. Enjoyed some of your streams. I sat through some here and there. I work a lot, so it's like I had to sit watch them in bits. But most recently, I wanted to bring up, and I tagged Jan in it. I sent the link to him of your most recent video on YouTube, Payne, of when you're playing the AI generated response vampire game. Where'd you find out about that? And like I mean, that was an awesome video, by the way. I just want to say, like, but nice. Like, where do you find like these games? Like, I mean, like, I think you said Dashy, right? The Dashy was playing it, and that's why you wanted to check it out.
I'm a big fan of Dashy XP. I've watched him for years, and he's just he's so funny, and his energy and all is so over the top and stuff like that. And then literally, I hop onto YouTube one day, and I'm a fan of vampires in general, you know, that sort of way. And then I seen this game, and it's like AI, and I was like, oh no, here we go, because I'm not like the massivest fan of AI in certain aspects, but this one, then I was like, in a game, okay, let's have a look. And he goes on, and he's literally like talking, and like whatever he says, they respond to him perfectly and stuff. I was like, oh, this is hilarious. I was like, no, yeah, I have to do a video on this. So I bought the game, downloaded it, and made a video of it. So pretty much,
yeah, that was a fun video, man. It's just like it's you know, we talk about like people like creators like Dashy XP, and Jan, I don't know how familiar you are with Dashy, but
I've never heard of him.
He's a so for me, he's not exactly my cup of tea. I think he is a bit much at times, but he is entertaining. But what I find, I think out of most content creators are the ones that are very true to themselves. Me and Jan had this whole conversation on last week's episode, I believe. I think it was last week's or the week before last. I don't remember. But we were talking about how, you know, when you have content creators who do the reaction faces in their thumbnails and things like that, which is sometimes it's appropriate. Like I know Emma does that, and that's fine if that works for you. But a lot of times it comes off very, very corny at times.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you do it too.
Right? I agree.
It.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Like Emma, the way Emma does it is it's not too in your face about it. But a lot of these content creators do it, and then in their videos, I know you're going to play a character to a certain degree, but also at the end of the day, like I like when you're just a genuine person. And in that video, Payne, you just seem like yourself, man. You're just like, let me just see I'm trying to get into this person's house. I'm a vampire. What kind of shit would I say to get into their house? And you kept it. And it was funny because for me, and I've been trying to watch my cussing somewhat, but I feel like I would have been a dickhead about to everybody who opened the door. I would have been like, I know they wouldn't let me in, but just to see how they respond to it. Like, what do you feel about Taylor Swift and things like that? Just see what they say. But yours was cool, man. It's very genuine. So that was a good video.
Cheers. Yeah. No, that was the same thing. I was like trying to think about like, okay, who's opening the door? What kind of thing can I say for this person to invite me in and stuff like that? Like the first person I think I went to was this old lady's house and all that sort of stuff. And my nan, she loves having people in for cups of tea and stuff like that. So I think I was trying to say to her, I was like, can we go in and have a cup of tea and, you know, talk about stuff and all? I was like, I love your dress, you know, in a sort of way. I was like, well, I just moved into the neighborhood and all. I'm trying to say hi to everyone and all. Yeah. And then eventually, you get let in, and then you basically just bite them and suck their blood, more or less, really. So, but like it's hilarious. And he's like, well, moving on to the next house, really, you know. So, yeah, it's a very funny game. Very funny game.
Yeah. It was a really entertaining video, man. Hopefully it's done well on the channel. Really made the algorithm go up, man. Because I still can't seem to understand this algorithm at all. Like I was telling Jan about it the other day. Well, last time we talked, it was like trying to figure out what content to make on the channel is really hard because I have a lot of things that I really enjoy. Like I just made a Batman Arkham Origins on PC video. I made a whole video with that, playing through parts of Arkham Origins on PC, which by the way, totally recommend it if anybody hasn't already on PC. It's like playing a remastered version of the game, but it's like one of my lowest rated videos because it's just I don't know, man. It's like if it's not like what's modern, like what's going on right now, it seems like the videos don't get as much traction, if that makes sense. You know, like if I was talking about Helldivers 2, if I was talking about Pal World, anything like that, I feel like maybe.
Well, you got to chase trends. I mean, everybody knows that.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. Like a lot of the streaming services and stuff like that and all are kind of the way. Like, I mean, I feel right now all platforms have their big bads basically right now that everyone will watch and stuff like that. And it'll be the odd time where someone will just catch you out of the time of their eye and stuff. And then you have to there's a lot of trends going on really right now that you have to keep up with, you know, sort of way. Like it looks like you can't really be yourself in videos a lot lately. You have to play some type of character and all. Do you know what I mean? Like if you were ever to watch, there's a few YouTubers I know now and stuff like that, that when they're on camera, they're over the top and they're hyped and they're just going nuts and they're literally like dancing with lights going nuts and smoke and all. And, you know, and then like when you meet them in person, they're like, hey, as like really genuine, like chill.
Like
they're not
normal people.
they're not crazy and stuff like that. There's actually a YouTuber I know. I've met him. His name's Aaron the Loco, Aaron the Loco. He used to be called Sexy Boat Captain, or something like that. It's been a while now since he had that name, but no, he changed it now. It's Aaron the Loco, and he's been playing Call of Duty, and he's been doing all these really cool short videos and stuff like that. He actually got a shout out. He actually got money from Mr. Beast. I think that's that's where a lot of people got it. Yeah. He was playing COD, and like Mr. Beast was like, oh, if you win this, I'll drop 10 grand, and he won, and he dropped 10 grand basically. Wow. So and ever since then, basically, he's been playing with Dr. Disrespect and all, and, you know, having this really funny, like, back and forth between them and stuff like that. And then a lot of his videos, I'm going to say, personally, I think they're scripted, but they're so funny. You know what I mean? Regardless if they are or not, it's absolutely hilarious. Like he could be playing Call of Duty and then he'd be hearing someone singing and he'd be like, what the heck? What's that? And he goes over and it's just like this stage in one of the towns with a microphone at it. And the guy's like there just going, and just singing some type of song and all. And then he stops and he looks at him and he's like, what are you doing? And, you know, did he shoot him and all? It's very funny.
I get the type. Okay.
Yeah. But no, that's what it all comes back with, to the algorithm and stuff like that. Like you can't really be yourself. Plus, obviously with YouTube, it's all hashtags, and same with X and all these days and all. You know, you can't have too many hashtags. Like how many is too many, especially with TikTok and all as well, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. You mentioned the hashtags because like, well, I use a lot of hashtags for mine, and see now I might have to be a bit more like, you know, subtle with how many hashtags I use because I didn't think about that. If you use
apparently
too many,
15.
15?
Apparently 15 is apparently 15 is like the max you can get.
Oh, we're good then.
So you cannot blame that though. It's got to be something else.
Like the first 3 tags you use will be the sweet ones that go into the title of the video. Right. That's what will show up first, and then every other tag after that is just like genuine tags and stuff like that. Like I'm a massive Mortal Kombat fan. Okay.
Yeah. We talked about that.
I used to do a lot of videos, a lot of shorts and stuff like that with Mortal Kombat. My friend said to me, oh, here, if you want like to try and gain some traction on the channel and all, do a load of shorts. You've got like Mortal Kombat, right? Take every special move, every fatality, every stage fatality and whatever, and do random just short videos of stuff doing like that. You've got content there for years and stuff. And I was doing it for Mortal Kombat 1, and I started doing it for the newer Mortal Kombat 1 and all that. And I was, like fair, like depending on when you upload, I think I had to upload at like 5 a.m. Now, obviously you can schedule it, thank God. But yeah, scheduling at 5 a.m. and stuff, and like I'd come back and they'd have like over 1,000 views or 2,000 views or something like that. And I was like, this is actually working. And then I played the new Mortal Kombat, and my whole motivation just went out the window because it was terrible.
We talked about that previously. Yeah, I mean, I'm not as huge into it as I used to be, but I was pretty disappointed as well. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying though. Like as far as using hashtags, using too many, that definitely makes sense. I don't think that's the reason why the past few videos on the Deadhead 96 channel hasn't done as well. I think it's really it's been hard for me to really make any kind of content, to be honest with you. Like, you know, you'll kind of go through those stages where you're really into like streaming, or you're really into making content, and then you'll just kind of be at a point where it's like, why do I even care? Like, I work so hard. Oh, just winter?
Depression season. Yeah, trust me.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
during winter I get like 80% less productive than usual. Like in every aspect of my life. I don't know if that's the same with you guys.
No, I agree with you there. I think that, and then I was telling Payne before. I know Jan knows a lot about this, but I was telling Payne before the show started that got a baby on the way. So that's obviously like up front of my mind because, well, it has to be, right? Like I have to prepare because you know, the kids due late July, early August, and it seems like you've got time, but I mean 2024 is like flying by like that. So it's just a lot going on with that, and then taking the time to content create is really hard. That's why I like doing the podcast. Is like, the easy part, because there's no editing, there's no like, yeah, I mean, obviously there's advertising, which by the way, Jan, I was commending Payne before you came on, before we started the show today. He's been, I don't know if you've noticed, man, Payne was doing some great advertising for this episode, and I was thinking him, I really appreciate you doing that, because I know he didn't seem like he was doing much, but you did a lot of advertising, man. I felt like I was seeing a couple posts from you about the show, so I really appreciate that. I know I told you that before, but I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, no worries, no bother at all.
So, what have we been playing, guys? What games have we been playing? Like, whether it be personally, I know Payne's been streaming, but Payne, we'll start with you since you're the guest. What have you been playing?
Well, today I played fairly new. It's called Enshrouded. It's basically like if you know or have played Valheim, the game, it's pretty much kind of the same thing. Think Zelda, but think like more survival Zelda, where you actually have to build a base and get like this blacksmith or this alchemist or something like that to help you brew potions or build weapons, that type of thing. And then you go off to try and save this world from, let's say, a darkness type thing. But it's a lot more like I like Valheim. I love the Viking and the Norse era and stuff like that, and mythology and all that sort of stuff. So I really got into Valheim. But this one I just think has a bit more of a, because like in Valheim there's a magic element, but it's the really late game the magic element comes into it. In Shrouded, this one, it looks like that the magic one is right there. The second you get out, you get a magic wand, and you're there like trying to ice people up or set them on fire, depending on which one you get and stuff like that. And also that one, I think I've been playing recently, and then obviously I'm going back through Subnautica again because it was in the news. It was in the news recently because apparently they were saying something about Zero Hour. Is it 0 Hour? The second Subnautica?
I wouldn't know.
Oh yeah. You're talking. Yep, you're right.
And they're like, we're thinking about having that as a multiplayer. What do you call Fortnite? It's like a multiplayer.
The battle royale.
Not really battle royale, but it's more like
I don't know.
Like a live service.
Live service. Sorry, that's it exactly. Yeah, a live service multiplayer game, and like I think even Jacksepticeye tweeted about or X'd about it, should I say, saying like that's a stupid game, that's a stupid idea, because Subnautica is more about you being solo on this planet trying to survive, and it adds to the more horror aspect and stuff like that. You probably won't be feeling any of that if you're there with your buddies laughing and joking around and all that sort of stuff. It's the fact that you're really secluded in a planet and trying to survive and stuff and get off the planet. It adds a bit more to the game. So I think the devs shot that down straight away because it was a rumor. But I seen that and I was like, I like Subnautica. I kind of want to play it again. Yeah, so I'm going to do it again.
I don't think I could do it, man. I wouldn't say I have thalassophobia too much, but I will say like that being secluded underwater, scenery, like the isolation, it does kind of make my blood boil a little bit. Jan, how do you feel about, like, have you played Subnautica? I mean, what are your opinions on it?
All right. So yeah, I'm not really big into Subnautica because I'm not really into survival in general. I found that I just have no patience for them, which is weird because I have patience for other games that require it, like, I don't know, turn-based RPGs. When it comes to survivals, I don't know what it is. I guess I just, even as a kid, I preferred watching YouTubers play them than playing them myself.
Oh, yeah. All right.
But I'm sure they can be very cool and very rewarding, right? When you finally manage to have a certain routine to what you're doing, when you start making your cute little base. I don't know what Subnautica is about. I don't know if that's.
It's pretty much like that. Yeah, like I mean, like your overall goal is to get off the planet, but a lot of the times, like you said, like it's a lot of great feeling when you're like, like I really want to develop this submarine, but I have to go out and get all this little bits of stuff before I can get to do it. And then as soon as you get to do it, and then you see it all getting formed in front of you and stuff like that, and it drops into the ocean, it just feels really cool. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I understand where you're coming from, where you don't like one thing but you like another game, because I didn't like World of Warcraft when it started back in the day, because I was like, I don't like watching the person go over and hitting someone. I'd rather do it myself, like Devil May Cry or God of War. And like I'm saying to myself, okay, but I loved Final Fantasy X, And I was like, isn't that kind of like the same sort of thing where you just click attack and watch them attack? But I think it was a bit more because it was a bit more cinematic, especially in the overdrives and stuff like that. You know, you can have all these cool camera angles and effects and stuff. So I think that's more what drew me in more than World of Warcraft, where you just go, every
just
5
a different
seconds.
feeling, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, I'm glad you mentioned Final Fantasy X, man. That's a great game. If Final Fantasy X really could use a remake, Jan hasn't played it yet, I don't think.
Yeah, so this is the time where Dylan reminds me that I haven't played Final Fantasy X. There are a few games in his list that I really should play. He doesn't miss any opportunity to just remind me that. So about Red Dead Redemption, which Jan still hasn't played, you know, it's one of the greatest games ever made. If you call yourself a gamer, you gotta play this one. I'm just kidding.
Dude, I like every time he opens his mouth, I hate him even more. Like, why would you say that?
It's true.
Yeah, I've been trying to get what we've been trying.
Promise I will.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. Like, just to go back to the conversation we had just a second ago about staying with the algorithm and things like that. Me and Jan have really made it a thing to try to stay as current as we can.
Yeah.
Now, it's really difficult to do that. Like, we have lives. Like, for instance, when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth drops, I'm not beating that shit in a week. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen in 2 weeks. I love this game. I don't want to beat it that quick. I don't want to finish the game that fast. I've been waiting so long for the sequel. Why would I do that? That's one. Two, I don't have the time to beat the game in like 2-3 weeks. I just do not have it. And you have some of these people who can sit there and play. And look, hey, hats off to you. If you can go to work all day and play for 13 hours, I really my invisible hat off to you. But I just don't have the time to do that. I just I don't work the weekends anymore. Like I used to work every weekend at my job. I don't work the weekends anymore. I still can't dedicate a whole weekend to playing the game. Like maybe 6 hours on Saturday, 6 hours on Sunday or something like that. But it's not like the entire time. Like I cannot, like, especially, I know Jan is probably more or less like that, but Payne, can you feel what I'm saying here? Like you've been waiting for this game so long. You don't want to beat the game. Even if you have the ability to, you don't want to beat it that quick. Right. I mean,
yeah.
Right?
Well, like it's funny you mentioned it because I made a promise to a friend of mine. She's also a YouTuber and a streamer, so Renix and me and her like have a fond love of Final Fantasy and all as well. And she can't really get the game as soon as it drops. So I said to her, I was like, right, here's the deal. I'm not going to get the game as soon as it drops. I'll wait for you to get it. So technically we can kind of try and play it at the same time so we can both nerd out about it, basically. Do you know what I mean? And because Final Fantasy VII was a special game for a lot of people, like back in the day. Now, I'll admit the first game I ever played was 10, but then I started to go back to play the likes of 7, 8, and 9 and all that sort of stuff, really. And yeah, you just fall in love with these types of games. And then after playing the remake of the 7th gone by, a few things were changed and all that sort of stuff, and events happened that were never in the last one. You're like, holy crap, this is awesome. Like, you know, this is a whole new era and like a whole new game and stuff like that and all. And like you develop this kind of relationship and stuff like that with said game. And then with anyone else who likes that, like, you know, you kind of develop a special kind of bond and relationship with them as well. So you can just talk about it and nerd out about it and stuff like that and all as well. So that's why I said to myself, like, I'm going to avoid as many spoilers as I can and stuff like that. I'm going to like be loyal to her in a way that like I won't play it and really until she gets to play it. So then we can both, like, as I said, just talk about it, saying, oh my God, did you see this part? And then, oh my God, did you see that part? And all that sort of stuff. And then just to redevelop that sort of like you're playing this game again for the first time and you're going off to your friends to have all the chats about it, basically, like back in the day.
Right. Yeah,
that's sort of the thing you did. It's kind of like what Dylan and I do, right? Right, Dylan?
Well, I mean, we try. We try.
Well,
I don't know. So I don't know if you tuned into the episode, Payne, about we did a Spider-Man 2 First Impressions podcast episode.
Okay.
Well, my handsome co-host here. See, I'm talking you up. My handsome co-host here had already beaten the game in like 2 days, and I wasn't even through like the first 3 hours of the freaking game. So First Impressions ended up being kind of like a review on his side. And so like he was already done with the game before I could really, before I even got the spoiler alert, I guess, before I got the Venom suit, I guess, before I could even get to that point, Jan was already finished with the game.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, and like by finished, it means like 100%. Like they didn't just finish the campaign. I did everything I could have done. I remember feeling bad because remember, like I would be playing like all the time. It came out during a weekend. I think that's why I managed to do all that. And I remember like I would be playing like all the time, only taking a few short breaks. You know, to sleep, eat, that kind of crap. And from time to time, I would get a message by Dylan like, "Oh man, I wish we were playing Spider-Man 2 now. Man, I'm stuck at work." And I'm like writing back, like, "Yeah, dude, that sucks. This gotta suck. It's rough, bro." And then go back to play.
Well, I'm pretty sure too. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jan. You got the game like a day earlier, didn't you?
I did get the game a day earlier.
I think that's some shit, man. That's bull.
Well,
that's bull.
Well, I mean, the how do you say, the scales kind of tilted back into my disfavor, not my favor, because when it came to Persona 3, I got the game late.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was a gamble when it comes to these guys.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things now that actually you can there's ways of getting the games early. It's weird. Like if you get it digitally and if you change your clock on the day of release or the day before release. Exactly, yeah. You'll get it early. You'll be able to download it and stuff. Or if you order it for home delivery, sometimes you'll get it the day before the game actually comes out because normally games come out on a Friday.
To me. Yeah.
Yeah. So like even like a lot of people are like, "Oh, how did you get the game early?" It's like it got delivered to me. No, you obviously just like hacked it or something. You're like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, yes, they see this. I hacked this box and there's the CD and all that sort of stuff. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, you stopped with one of the guys, who's like, I don't know, making the game. And he sent you a free copy, just like that.
Yeah. Speaking of, so just to go back on what you were saying, Payne, about, so your friend, she's in the Final Fantasy as well. You said you're going to wait until you both have the game. So, and I mean, you told me this before the show starts, so I hope it's okay. We can talk about it. You were able to get a code for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, like for the entire game, right? You got
no, unfortunately not for 7. No, what happened was
my bad. Sorry.
No, what I was saying was I work in a video games company, so I'm kind of, my PlayStation unfortunately died the other week as I was playing. I got codes for Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and Persona 3. Right. The developers sent me the codes for those two. Infinite. First of all, I was just like, "Oh yeah, Infinite Wealth, I'll take that." I was like, "Cool. Do you want Persona 3 too?" I was like, "Sure, why not? Go for it."
Why not?
Yeah. But like, no, yeah. So like, I was thinking now, it's gone. The PlayStation, thankfully, has kind of gone down right now in the company that I'm in. So I'm kind of hoping they might do a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth bundle because it's out this Friday. So I'll keep an eye out for that, and I might get that. And again, I'm still gonna not play the game until my friend plays the game. Rainer plays the game anyway. So yeah, that's more or less that.
Yeah. I think that's me, and I think that's Jan and I's like most anticipated game right now. But to get into other anticipated games, let's go to Jan for a second because he's been playing Persona 3 Reload. Now we did a whole episode last week where I gave my thoughts on it. I have unfortunately stopped playing the game because I've been playing Banishers, which we'll get more into that later. But Jan, Persona 3 Reload. I know now you can give us your thoughts on the game. What are you thinking about Persona 3
Reload? So I'm not gonna geek out too much, but I am gonna say I went from thinking, okay, my first knee-jerk reaction when I saw Persona 3 Reload, when I started testing the mechanics, right? The fighting, whatever they changed, right, from all the other versions. The one thing I noticed is that they did this thing where they tried to make it more like Persona 5, right? They kind of homogenized the whole experience. They took out certain features that were exclusive to Persona 3, right? Just took them out. And they added some features that were exclusive to Persona 5, right? So now I feel like at least when it comes to the fighting, right? To the dungeon crawling, the two experiences are pretty similar. Not too much. The original game's DNA still manages to shine through. But Yeah, they removed the tired mechanic. In the original game, you'd get tired if you explored for too long in the dungeon. And that influenced into a whole a lot of other stuff. Like if you went to school while you were tired and slept during class, then you would automatically feel better. In this game, you can still sleep during class, but that doesn't help with your status since it doesn't exist anymore. Now, sleeping during class gives you courage. So they kind of managed to make everything work, even by modernizing the experience a lot. Maybe even a little too much for my liking. And that was my first reaction. But then I saw how much shit they added, both story wise and gameplay wise. They added so much stuff. They made like Tartarus is completely different. It plays completely. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I don't know about Payne. I don't know if Payne.
I know you have the game, but I don't know how much you played.
Yeah.
I played one of the Personas, the one I can't remember. I think it was 5 actually. But although you're gonna hate me a little bit now, I didn't like it because it gave me a full week to go into the dream state and try and like break it down and all, and then it's like, okay, now we're gonna go for it and stuff like that. It said I had 1 day left to get back into the dream state and continue it on and stuff like that. But it didn't do anything because it literally, like, as we went in, it said you have failed to go any further in the dream state. Everything's gone. You have to reset your game and go back to the beginning. Right. I was like, no. I'm done. I'm done.
I understand what happened. Yeah, that was Persona 5, I think. It has like a deadline thing. You gotta beat the boss by the time the deadline comes, or you gotta reset. But anyhow, to go back to what I was saying, I really like it. I might even say it's one of the best Persona 3 versions out there. And it takes a lot to say that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not gonna get into why, but thumbs up.
I
really like it. I've been having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been seeing. So of course, me and Jan are best buddies on PlayStation, and every once in a while I'll see what you're doing, and it seemed like you were playing it and enjoying it. I put it down after 10, 11, 12-ish hours, something like that. So I put a good bit of time into it. Payne, just to inform you, I've never played the Persona series before ever. So like this was a whole completely new experience for me. I did enjoy it for while I was there, but my problem was, and we won't get into it. If you want to see more of our thoughts, you can watch our last week's episode. I also made a couple clips and uploaded them as well. But one of the things that I had an issue with was I thought the battle system, because I think we're all in the same boat here, including Payne, just hearing him talk. I like turn-based combat. I do enjoy it. It's maybe not my favorite, style of combat. I do like more like what was it, like action RPG. I feel like I am more into that. Really, specifically the Final Fantasy VII remake mixture of the two, where you have the real time fighting and then you could do the turn based. I think that's a perfect combination. Now, the thing I liked about Persona 3 Reload, my favorite part was the battles. Honestly, that was my favorite part because it felt like I was really challenging myself, because sometimes it was really freaking hard, man. I was having a really hard time with some of these enemies, but everything else just feels just shallow and mundane and crap that I do in my normal life. Like, now I don't go to school anymore because I'm 27 years old, but like I have a job. Like I have to eat. I have to sleep. I have to be social. Like I just felt like it was kind of hitting a little too close to home for me. I have to go. Oh, I have to go to work. Jan's laughing because we had a whole conversation about this last episode.
I'm remembering your rant from.
I was going a little bit to it, so I won't do that here. But I felt like it was a little too close to home. Like it had the fantasy elements that I did like, but then it had other stuff that just felt a bit more real to me. Like almost to the point where it was kind of like, man, like I got to go to work now and I have to go to work later. So it just. I don't know. I wasn't liking it as much because
it's kind of its main shtick, right? It's what drives it apart. That's what I told you privately too. It's what sets it apart from other RPGs, and if it's not your cup of tea, then
right. And I like the concept with like you having to pick specifically things that you want to like plan out your day. I do like that aspect, but it just felt. Honestly, like I told you, I know it had been too much. And Payne, I don't know have you played Hogwarts Legacy at all?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So one of my main gripes with that game, I believe it or not, and Jan rolls his eyes when I say this, I picked Hogwarts Legacy to be my game of the year for 2023. The reason why I picked that, I see, yeah, I know. Because the reason why I said that was because ever since like just a young boy, I've always wanted a Harry Potter, like a completely explorable Hogwarts and surrounding areas type game. I've always wanted that. I finally got it. Now, is the game perfect? Hell no, it's not perfect at all. As a matter of fact, it's very, very flawed. But I think because it gave me the magic that I've always wanted in a Harry Potter Wizarding World type of thing, it was my game of the year. And there was a lot of good games that came out in 2023. Now, one of my major gripes with it was that you had the classes that you could go to, but you couldn't really participate in the classes, like Defense Against the Dark Arts, things like that. If Persona would have done that, like I know it would have been a bit more to do. Like it'd probably been cost more money, obviously more development time. But if I was like able to kind of participate a little bit more in like extracurriculars, like for instance, like in Persona 3, I joined the track team. If I was able to do some races, like I think that would be kind of cool, man. Like to kind of just open up the game, kind of like what Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is doing with their mini games. We're seeing that in the trailer where you can do a bunch of different mini games. I know that stuff seems a little maybe downright cheesy and corny at times, but it kind of just alleviates the game when you have this overarching darker story, and then you have these moments where you can kind of just fool around and have fun and participate in these classes and stuff and other things. That way it can kind of like make you better when you do go to battle, or when it gives you buffs like in certain areas, like maybe plus 10 defense and whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like that's if it would have more of that, I think I would really like it. I mean, does that sound feasible, or would that be too much for game?
Yeah, I think it would go kind of against its design philosophy, right? I think the idea with Persona is that, I mean, you plan out what you do in a day, and then you just do it, right? I think if there was like an added challenge to doing those things, it would be. I mean, I don't know who am I to judge, right? Maybe it can be done, but I feel like it definitely would be a completely different experience from the one that they were planning on making. Yeah, the whole have a shit ton of mini games philosophy. That's a very Final Fantasy thing. Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts, right? They just add a shit ton of mini games. Which
except for Final Fantasy 16, except for Final Fantasy.
Yeah, right. Because that game is not a real Final Fantasy, am I right? That's am I right, pal? I'm kidding. I like that game. I like it a lot. I like it more than 15.
What do you think, Payne? Do you think?
What about you, Payne? What's your favorite Final Fantasy? I'm sorry.
It's definitely 10. Like, I mean, when I fell in love when I played 10 for the first time. So I picked 10 out of all of them really every time, because it was just the game that I played first, and the whole Tidus and Eunice story and all, and I still cry at the end. So like, it's definitely something that I'm down. But like, going back to what you were saying there about like you wish that Persona would have added in, like, or even Hogwarts adding in, be able to add in like certain things. Games these days, and this goes for like indie, and it goes for AAA developers and quadruple A developers, if there ever is such a thing. They need to take a look at what Baldur's Gate 3 did. Okay, Baldur's Gate 3 came out pre-beta, where you could buy the game straight off the bat. It wasn't finished. Everyone knew it wasn't finished. It would allow you to go through the story to a certain aspect, and then it would stop there. And the amount of people who bought the game, they'd get more money to put more production into it and keep expanding the game and all that sort of stuff. Like when it came out, basically, right? The game was amazing. It was great. Don't get me wrong. And I remember watching some specific TikToker saying, "Oh God, I wish you could play fetch with the dog." Scratch, I think it was, right? I was like, wouldn't it be amazing if I could just like chop off someone's head and play fetch with that head with the dog? And literally the very next week, they imported that particular feature. You could literally decapitate someone, pick up their head, throw it, the dog would grab it and bring it back to you. And then you could just keep doing that and stuff like that. So like, this is what I'm coming down to. Like, let's say, like you were saying there with Hogwarts, being able to be like, so they have their story that's there. That's fine. And then they were going to bring out some DLC to expand a bit more of the story. So the amount of people who bought Hogwarts, I think it did very well in sales and stuff like that. I think it made a good profit and stuff. They could have went back and then started looking at that, implementing more of a class, like being able to go more in depth into the class features and stuff like that. And that would bring more people back. to go back into the game, to play more of the game, and then maybe even get more sales out of it and stuff like that. That's what I don't get. Like, a lot of people will go mad these days when a game comes out unfinished, and rightly so, in some aspects, you know? But like the way you were saying there, if they didn't release a feature, but if they got a lot of money from selling the game, bring a lot of that money, put more back into that game, expand out a few more features, and then they could sell even more. You know, that sort of way. So there's a lot of people got to stop giving out a lot of the time for various games that are released that aren't ready, but then they get finished down the line. If a game sticks to it, like No Man's Sky is probably the best one to talk about in this situation. When that came out, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Sean was talking about all this sort of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I think it was his first game. He was very hyped, very excited. He was like, this is what's in it. This is what's in it. This is what's on in it. It wasn't when it first came out, but he had the idea and he wanted to put it into the game. And this is what I mean. He became the most hated person on the internet for that game. And then he and his team stuck with that game, brought in all the features that were promised. And now it's like the best game ever and everyone loves it, and he's like a god now sitting on top of this throne and stuff like that, saying like, you know, everyone loves it, and he's going to go on to his next game and probably do the same thing again. But the way people literally like freaked out about it and stuff, okay, fine, the way he came about it was wrong, because he was like, yeah, this is going to have it and it's going to have this. You don't promise those features until you're 100% certain they're going to be in the game day one, you know, that sort of way. He said like, oh yeah, well, we're planning on this and we're planning on having that. Those are the ways he should have worded it, but he didn't. He basically just said, yeah, it's going to have this and you can do this and there's going to be this great thing at the end of the universe and stuff. But like when it came out, no, the great thing at the end of the universe was you got pushed all the way back to the start and it was like a different named universe. Do you know that sort of way? And you had to do the whole thing all over again. And it's like, what is this crap? You know, sort of way. So that's why a lot of people got angry over it. But like, that's the same thing. If Hogwarts was taking that and now they implemented, like I think they brought out Quidditch eventually for the game. I haven't gone back to it now since I finished it, but Quidditch wasn't in it. But I think Quidditch is in it now. Do you know what I mean? So those, I think so. I think
about that.
I don't know, but I haven't checked it out. But you know, that is a good point though. Like, yeah, I mean, even if honestly, that would just add more replayability, right? Like, even if the game didn't release where you could participate in the classes to that certain extent, like if they were able to implement some stuff, like you were saying, that would just give more replayability, right? Like, I'd want to go back and pick another house and do some of these classes if you were able to do a bit more stuff within the game. Like if they just if they added Quidditch and things like that. So I get what you're saying. At the end of the day, like, I know games take a lot of money to make. Like, I don't know what really goes into. I'm sure adding too much detail in some of these things is going to cost a lot of money to a studio. They did show a little bit like some cut scenes of like your character participating in some of the potion brewing and things like that in Hogwarts Legacy. But I think it would have been really cool to kind of give a little bit more into that. I think it would have been fun. And I mean, that's a whole trophy list right there, Jan. Jan's a completionist. Jan would just sit there and just sit in class and try to get the best scores he can get and get all the trophies that he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
the main reason why I go back to updated games is for the trophies, of course. but yeah, so, George Lucas says, you know, the movie's never finished; it's only abandoned. So I guess with games, it goes the same way. Right. I mean, a lot of games that even before the digital age, right, when games could be updated, you would see a lot of re-releases of games, right? But like with new features. So I mean, I think you're right. I think it's a thing that happens with games all the time. I think maybe what Baldur's Gate did was the next step, right? Get the player feedback to such a level where you can you're communicating to them directly.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think they went through like every single one of the requests that came in and tried to implement, and the majority of it, and obviously the others, I think they leave for the modding community and stuff like that to go nuts with and all. Like apparently everyone's giving Astarian guns and stuff like that now. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, that's that feature for the mods and stuff like that. This is why I don't get a lot of games are scared of modders, you know, that sort of way. In some aspects, I find, yeah, okay, I agree. If they put in like some other license into that game and they're like, we don't like that license. We'd rather not have it in our game and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But like, then you come back to like some of the other mods that people would like Lethal Company is probably the best example of this now. Like, do you know what I mean? That game is really good, playing vanilla. Like, don't get me wrong, it's amazing and stuff like that. But mods make it so much more funnier and so much better in various aspects because they're still working on it. I'm pretty sure they're still working on it in the background and all. But like these modders are releasing new moons, new monsters, new stuff that you can collect, and so much faster than the team that there is. And I know they're not a big, massive company and stuff like that compared to like the likes of Ubisoft and all that sort of stuff. And so yeah, it will take time and all to continue. But a lot of places I don't see as well why they're not working with these modders. I mean, I know, GTA roleplay. You know the way GTA. Apparently, GTA Rockstar apparently are going to be working with a few of the people who created GTA roleplay and the servers and all. And I think they're going to have a little bit of an aspect of that in GTA 6. Now, this is just purely me thinking, like, that's what I've heard and all. This isn't a guaranteed, this is what's going to be in the game. So take this with a grain of salt, people. Don't freak out. But apparently, like that, I've heard that they're going to be working with the roleplay people to kind of implement that sort of thing into the game itself. So you never know.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned Rockstar. Like I think Jan is a little bit more
from Rockstar that I haven't played, right?
Yeah, right. Like Jan's not a huge Rockstar guy, not yet anyway. We hope to cover some more stuff here on the show, hopefully. If not, I'll just speak up for the Rockstar fans out there. But Rockstar seems to be a little funny about the PC in general anyway. I mean, look at Red Dead Redemption 1. I mean, that game came out in 2010 and it's still not on PC. That's unbelievable.
Not on PC?
No. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 is, but the first one is not. And it's crazy to me that it's not. And they also said GTA 6, they don't have plans to put that on PC for a while either. So like, Rockstar seems to be, I don't think they're against modding their game because as you know, like in Red Dead 2, there's a lot of mods out for that.
I don't think with that.
But I think Rockstar is definitely not for the PC that much. I don't think they like to support the PC. I don't know that for a fact. It seems that way. Like they don't seem to like their games modded too much. It's not like Bethesda, right? Like Bethesda, they almost like encourage you to like remake their whole damn game because let's be honest, Starfield was trash. It wasn't trash. But
there's a big problem with a few of the companies now as well as they try and release games as quick as they can. Like look at Assassin's Creed, there's almost a new one every year. Call of Duty, there's almost a new one every year. FIFA, there's always a new one. Sorry, FC, there's always a new one every year. Do you know what I mean? And it's just you look at the likes of FC and you're like, what's different? You know what I mean? It's like, why am I buying this every single year? Because there's no difference. It's just football. I mean, maybe like, the players and all, when they get changed around and stuff like that, that will happen. But that will also happen in the older version as well, because they update the older versions still to a certain extent as well.
They do?
So you wouldn't want it. Like a couple of years before, I think it's like 3 or 4 years, they'll update those ones because obviously people are still playing them, like, you know what I mean? Right. But then eventually they'll stop doing the old ones to try and get you to upgrade then. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't buy it every year. I'd buy it every maybe 2 or 3 years if I was into that sort of thing, really. Yeah. But it was the same with Assassin's Creed. When Unity came out, that was the buggiest mess thing you'd ever see, and everyone hated it and all. And yeah, fine, they eventually fixed it. But like, these companies need to stop being so trying to get out stuff as quick as possible. I know, yeah, fine, they're trying to corner the market and say, oh, buy our game first and all that sort of stuff. You've made a name for these particular franchises. People are going to buy it regardless. So stop wasting time on giving maybe, let's say, a 4-hour campaign, Call of Duty, but and then like focusing all on the multiplayer aspect. No one really, there's a lot of people out there who don't like the multiplayer aspect of it. They prefer the campaign story to it. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people are story.
It varies, but the thing is, Payne, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. But we are like very small few because honestly, I don't know how. I mean, based off what you just said, it seems like you're in this boat. I actually don't mind the Call of Duty campaigns. Matter of fact, when I was a kid, I thought that was some of the best storytelling that I had seen at the time because they did a really good job of making you seem like you were in a war movie almost. But now it's like it's all about this war zone and battle royale, which, by the way, that whole game mode is overdone, like so bad. But anyway,
it is, yeah.
I get what you're saying, but that's a whole other subject. See, Jan's laughing because he's a Fortnite elitist. So
no, I think in the shooting aspect, it's overdone. If you look at a game like I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Nakara Blade Point.
Oh,
Nikita
right.
play point.
Yes.
That's all
I
swords
think
and
yeah.
yeah, swords and spears, and like there's a big mystical side to it and stuff like that. That's cool. Like that was something unique and different and stuff like that. It's not like, okay, there's a few cannons and stuff like that you can get in it and all that as well, but like it's not purely all guns blazing and stuff like that. And what people would kind of prefer something like that for various games, like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you were to, let's say, take something like, here, and I hate me for this, Hogwarts Legacy, and have something like that where they all come flying in on their broomsticks down to the castle, and they got to run around and try and find various wands that have various, like, you know, things and stuff like that. Like, that might appeal to a few other people. Do you know what I mean? It's just to stop doing the shooters and start branching out into other stuff and fantasy elements and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
There was a pretty popular melee battle royale back in the day. I don't remember what it's called. Is it the culling, something like that? Culling.
Culling, yes, I know that one. Yeah,
the culling, whatever. That was something different, right? And that was
that was like a survival-esque type battle royale. You drop in and you gathered like stick and rock to be able to create like an axe, and then you'd be able to grab some twigs, and then you could make a bow, and then all that sort of stuff. I think I played that with a friend of mine back in the day. It was very badly bugged though, and then they just kind of unfortunately just left it and they went off to do other. I think either they abandoned it altogether and stuff like that. But that was a good unique sort of thing, really. You know, you're not like, you don't drop and straight away you've like this rocket launcher that's going to blow up the first person you see. You drop and like everyone has like fists, and basically you got to go and try and scavenge stuff to make stuff, and depending on what you make will depend on your odds of survival. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what game had a really good concept, but I don't think the popularity. I mean, no, hey, shut your freaking mouth. No, in the habit of multiplayer, Jan, is For Honor. I know it's not Battle Royale, but I thought For Honor had a very good concept with the multiplayer side of things. Yeah, but it's not Battle Royale, but it just made me think of that. Like, that's a really fun like melee multiplayer game that I thought was really cool.
Did you like it?
I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. Multiplayer games just kind of, again, like I play them for like maybe 10 hours and then I'm done. Like I just don't.
Unless you have someone to play them with, I'm the same.
Yeah. What about you, Payne? Do you play a lot of multiplayer?
Yeah, I did back in the day, and then I kind of stopped because we wanted to more focus on a lot of story-driven games and stuff. But this year now, I'm going back into the whole multiplayer game. Like I said, I'm playing Valheim with people I know. I'm playing Lethal Company with people I know. We're back and playing Monster Hunter World with people I know. There's a lot of multiplayer games now that we're trying to more get into, really. But I'm still showing the love for a lot of the story-based games, like the whole playing Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and hopefully try and get to Persona 3. And then, of course, Final Fantasy Rebirth eventually and all as well. So, yeah, there's a good mix there. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I was going to say, like, so as far as Final Fantasy Rebirth goes, I mean, it's like, is your friend, is she going to play it, like, during release, or is she going to wait a few weeks? I mean, what's the timeline you think you'll start that?
Well, she's in the process right now of buying a PlayStation 5. I think she said she wants to finish Ghost of Tsushima before she gets very good game. Before she buys it, because she doesn't want to like buy it and then basically, you know, she wants to basically finish it so she doesn't have to play it when she gets Final Fantasy. PS5, because when she gets PS5, she kind of wants to more focus on a lot of the PS5-ish games, like Final Fantasy Rebirth, obviously when it comes out. So it could be a couple of weeks, could be a month or so, but I'm patient. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to just kind of stay away from spoilers and all that sort of stuff, really. And I'll play when she plays, and then we can both nerd out about it. Plus, as well, another game that I'm going to wait for her as well to play is the new Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, because we both insanely love Metal Gear Solid 3. Like, you know, it was such a great game and such a great story. And of course, Solid Snake is such an icon nowadays, from all the way back in the day from PS1 and all. So, like, yeah, I said to her, like, those are the two types of games that we both love very dearly. So those are the two types of games that, like, I'm going to be patient, wait for her to finish, and then like, we'll try and play them at the same time, and then we'll both be like, oh my God, did you see this? Oh my God, they changed that. Oh my God, they did this. So, like, yeah, that's more or less it.
Right.
That's fun. Yeah, we haven't really discussed Metal Gear Delta, have we? How we doing?
We have. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a virgin when it comes to this series, man. I actually don't know a whole lot about it. I don't.
Damn.
I don't.
At
I'm
least
sorry.
I played MGS3.
I'm sorry. I haven't. That's just one of those. It's just one of those that I missed. I was more of a Resident Evil guy when I was a kid, because I grew up right at the height of Resident Evil when 2 and 3 were dropping. So and then 4, obviously, I fell in love with Resident Evil 4. So I was just really into that series.
Well, now they're remastering all the games, so I guess this is a good excuse to play them, right? And then
Exactly.
Delta.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go back and play those remasters because I heard the remastered collection is pretty. Is it? Payne, do you own it? I mean, how does it?
Is this Resident Evil or
the Metal Gear collection that just dropped that has is it 1, 2, and 3 on it?
It's 1, 2, and 3. I have it. Yeah. It's 1, 2, and 3.
No, it's this one right here.
Yeah,
this one right here, huh?
Yeah.
No. I have it. I have it to have it. You know, that sort of way. Like, because it's Metal Gear Solid and it's one of my top 5 favorite games of all time, and basically like that. I have it to have it so I can play it when I need to and stuff like that. However, I still have my PS1, my PS2, my PS3 games of those games and stuff like that. I'd more prefer to play them that way than play it in the new sort of game way. Do you know what I mean? There are a few times where games will come back remastered and stuff. Well, remastered, not remaked, because I think Delta is the first remake official. But the remastered ones, they just don't catch as well. Sometimes they'll look even worse than they did back in the day and all that sort of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So I prefer to just keep to the old consoles when playing those games. However, the game, definitely buying Volume 2, though, because unfortunately I don't have my PS3 anymore, and I'm dying to play Metal Gear Solid 4 again. Yeah.
The game's been trapped on a PS3 for years.
Exactly. And like finally now, Volume 2 is going to have 4. I think it's going to have 5 in the Phantom Pain. Peace Walker as well, exactly, yeah. And I've never played Peace Walker, so that's going to be great. I'm going to have an opportunity to play that, and I'm going to play 4 all over again. And then obviously you've got like the Phantom Pain and what was the one before that? What was like the prequel to that?
Ground Zeroes.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's more or less what Volume 2 is going to be all about, really.
Yeah, I bought Ground Zero for like $3 on PlayStation. Like,
hell yeah.
4 months ago. I was like, because I was seeing someone play it on YouTube, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty fun. And so I bought it. I've seen it was like for $3, but I don't really know anything about the series. However, I am a Kojima fan. Payne, would you say you're a pretty big Kojima fan? Are you looking forward to Death Stranding too?
Very big. Now, unfortunately, Death Stranding 1 didn't really catch me as well because I know. It's literally because I just looked at it and I was like, why am I walking places? This is just a glorified walking simulator. And don't get me wrong,
it's a first Strand game.
I really enjoyed the story behind it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to know, like, why is the rain like aging people? What's with all this, like, you know, black goo and tar and or whatever it was, and all these monsters and stuff. I think I made it to like to the second area or third area and stuff like that. But then I just put it down. However, the second one looks a lot more action packed than the first one did. So I'll definitely still be playing that one anyway. And then I think the first one is getting a like a director's cut or something, and I think that's going to be coming out. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, sorry, fair. Yeah. That's fine. I think it's coming out on the Game Pass on the PlayStation. So I'll probably give it another go. Do you know what I mean? I'll give it another shot and stuff like that and see how I get on. But 2 definitely, and then there's a new thing. Cynic, something like that. Cynic.
Like the new.
It's like a new stealth action espionage, basically, that he wants to get into. Yeah.
Oh. Are we talking about? Are we still talking about Kojima here?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Kojima Productions have said they're going back into the stealth tactical espionage, and they want. So everyone's like saying, "Yay, this is going to be the closest we'll get to another Metal Gear." Because unfortunately, Kojima came out with that god awful Metal Gear Solid Survive game.
Yeah,
which
I heard it's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I know it's so crazy too because Kojima, man. I mean, he makes some of the like I've seen bits and pieces of Metal Gear, and then if you look at Death Stranding, you see how wild his imagination is.
Yeah, he's
But
insane.
it's so intriguing though. Like you just want to know all about it. And here's the thing: like you'll play the game and still not know really what the heck the main story is. But like I had moments at the end of the first Death Stranding that like had me like I could feel a single tear. It was just
Mhm.
the moment that happened at the end, and I won't spoil it if you didn't get to that part, Bane. But there's a sequence where there's a reveal, and you saw it coming, but you get this reveal at the end of the game, and it just I don't know something got to me, and I was like, you know what? Out of everything I don't understand about this game, I understand that, and it's like that's just good. I mean, it's just he's so weird. It's kind of like reminds me of like who's Jan, you might be able to help me out here. What's his name? From Alan Wake, the creator of the Alan Wake series.
Sam Lake.
Yeah, Sam Lake. Sam Lake is kind of like that too. Like he makes
He's a
very
wacky guy too.
yeah, very interesting stories and worlds and stuff. These guys are very, very interesting storytellers, man. I just and that was one I never got to finish, Jan. I never finished Alan Wake 2. I know Jan had beaten it at
You
platinum.
never finished it?
No, I never finished it. I got kind of tired of the gameplay.
You're praising it so much though.
I love the atmosphere. I love the I mean, visually, it's amazing. The music is awesome. I mean, I still have that song stuck in my head. The Harbinger of Darkness, or the
champion.
Yeah, it's like stuck in my head. I mean, it's it's perfect. However, the gameplay got a little stale though. Having the flashlight burning the darkness off the enemies, and you're having to it's just I don't know. Then three shots, the enemy's dead. I just kind of got bored.
I think that the hype has died down. I think we can safely say the gameplay in Alan Wake 2 kind of sucks. I think that like everything you described kind of saves it. You know, it makes it one of the most unique games ever, and I'm glad I've played it. But exclusively gameplay wise, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
At some point, I could just kind of wish I was watching a movie. You know.
Yeah.
I was, like one of those YouTube compilations of all the cutscenes.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I'm the same way with that. Like me and Jan have had the conversation a bunch of times. Like if it had, and I wouldn't want this because I wouldn't want Alan Wake like roundhouse kicking people. But you see the gameplay of Resident Evil 4 remake, or Resident Evil 4 the original, but especially Resident Evil 4 remake, where the fluidity of your movement, the tacticality of Leon being able to throw a roundhouse kick after stunning a few Ganados, man, it's hard to go back to any other third person.
We can even Resident Evil 2, right? The remake, that one's great. Didn't have great mobility because they tried to kind of have the PS1 atmosphere in it, and I think that worked fine. That worked fantastic. I love playing that game. It's my favorite of the remakes so far. And,
really?
Yeah, didn't I say that?
So Resident Evil 2, you prefer Resident Evil 2 over Resident Evil 4 remake?
Remake wise, yes. If you're talking remakes too, yes, and probably original as well, but that's another story.
That's a tough one, man. I have to play
Payne. What's
How
do you stand with the remakes of Resident Evil?
Like it was good to kind of go back to see a more like kind of updated visuals for Resident Evil 1. Resident Evil 3, we're not going to talk about. It never existed, that remake, that sort of way. It's just going to put that in the background, basically. Resident Evil 2 was perfect. It was amazing, very good, very well done and all. And Resident Evil 4 as well, I think was very good and very well done and all as well. My problem with 3 though is they just left out a lot of stuff. Like, there was a whole version of Nemesis that never appeared. There was like the end part with this, like they made this gigantic railgun prototype type laser thing in the old version, and then in the new version it's this like kind of Gatling gun type thing that Jill can just hold in her hand, and I'm like, what is this? Like, that's the way. But so I'd much prefer the old version of 3, but either the old version of 2 or the new version of 2 I'll be happy with. I prefer the older version of 1. I mean, don't get me wrong, the newer version was nice, but there's just a special feel about the older version of 1. And then, of course, 4, I can go with either or because I think they both were very good, very well done.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, 4's atmosphere is well, I mean, like Resident Evil 2 remake's atmosphere is I can honestly say I do like a little, just a hair bit more of the Resident Evil 4 remake, because Resident Evil 4 remake, you're in a lot of like a wooded area a lot of the time, like at least half the game, and then the rest, you're in the castle, then you're on the island at the end. But Resident Evil 2, that police station was beautifully recreated, and like honestly, if you weren't running for your life for over half the time that you're in this police station, I would just love just to walk around and just look at it, because it's one of the most interesting pieces. Like, it's one of the most interesting settings of video games that I've seen. It looks so like realistic, yet like not realistic at the same time. Like, why the hell is there a bunch of doors with a spade on it? Why do I need this type of key to get in this door? Things like that.
Right.
Yeah, but beautifully created.
Police station.
Yeah, dude, it's really awesome, dude. Resident Evil 2, I forget how great that remake was, and how great the original is too. The original is great as well. So that's a good point by Payne and Jan. So,
which actually brings me to another point. Actually, for a lot of the remakes and stuff like that, and the VR modes, that puts you like into the game and stuff like that, I really enjoyed. Like, I played Resident Evil 4, now the older version in VR. I haven't played the newer version in VR, unfortunately. I was hoping to try and get a mod or something for that as well. But I played Resident Evil 2 remake in VR, thanks to a mod and stuff like that as well. And like, literally to be inside the Raccoon City Police Department and all, and then even Resident Evil 8 as well, to be in front of Lady Dimitrescu. Goddamn.
Hell yeah.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing, like, that's why I like really love VR. There's a lot of people who really hate VR when it comes to certain games, like older games, stuff like that. But when it puts you literally inside the game itself, and you're literally like looking around, and you're like there and with holding the gun and all, and like looking around and all, I just feel that VR like is really like gone to like another sort of stage in terms of games and all. But don't get me wrong, now there's been a few now that have been fairly bad in terms of VR and all as well. I mean, like, if you tried playing the likes of I don't know if ever Doom VFR, that was a thing they actually brought, like, the newer Doom, the first one they brought out on Doom.
VFR, yeah.
Literally, you cannot turn your guy. You literally have to turn on the spot and then start going forward and then turn yourself again. But thanks to mods, though, they fixed it, and I was able to actually play it, and I thought it was actually great fun. Do you know what I mean? But when it originally came out, you literally had to turn in the spot that you're in to actually go like a certain direction, and it was just a real pain.
Well, I mean, I see why they would do that, because I'm one of those people that just cannot enjoy VR because I get serious motion sickness.
I'm the same way.
I really do. Yeah, like I even like one of the most simple graphics. Like, as soon as the scenery like moves around me, but my body's not moving, my brain just goes ape shit.
Yeah,
and I just feel the need to sit down. So unfortunately, I cannot. And I guess that every time they do these very weird and obnoxious design changes, like the one you just mentioned, it might be because of that.
Right. You know, something that bothers me about it, it's so stupid. You guys are probably going to shake your head at me. But like, when I'm playing a VR game, you know, something that really takes me out of it is like, when you're in the game, it looks like let's say you look at your hands don't have wrist. It doesn't have wrist. So you just see your hands, like, they just look like they're floating. And I know they can't do arms because that'd be a bit much. But like, like when you look down at your hands and you can only see your hands, I don't know why that like takes me. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what? Like, that's a simple thing. I'm like Jan, though. I'm the same. I'm the same way with Jan. Like, I can play for maybe an hour. Like, I remember I bought so I don't have the PSVR 2 because holy crap, it's like $550 where I'm at. It's more than
there's hardly any games there for
it's so ridiculous. But anyway, I bought a PlayStation VR from someone that wasn't using it. It was fairly new. I was all right. Well, I'll take it. He was selling it for like $100. I was like, let me get it. And I played. I forgot what game it is. I wish I had it nearby. I could show you, but it's kind of has like it's like an action like shooting game. That's all it is. It's like you're two agents and you got a partner. You gotta shut your goddamn mouth. All right, no, it's not Red Dead Redemption. All right, although that would be sick. They did that. You gotta stop bringing up Red Dead Redemption like that. Okay, you gotta stop that. All right, I'm sorry. It's one of the greatest games ever made. It made me cry as a grown man. All right, I'm sorry. I like it. It touched my soul. Anyway, as I was saying, in the game when you're moving, you can only hit like one button to make your character move like in front of you, and the way you would move was so quick. And I'm like, Jan, like I'm not moving, but it looks like I am. And man, I'm telling you, like I could taste everything I had, like that I ate the entire day. Like I could feel it coming up. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I only played for like an hour, and I haven't touched it since. It's literally laying in a cardboard box like right to the left of me, and I have not touched it. I'm like, dude, I can't. And you know what sucks too? Payne, I'm a big Walking Dead fan. I love The Walking Dead. I know I'm one of those guys, last few survivors out here. But they made a really cool Walking Dead game called Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, I think that's what it's called.
Love that game. Love that game.
Dude, I played it for a little bit. It's no better feeling than being able to grab a walker by their throat and then take a knife and stab them like that. Like how they do like in the show and the comics. It's a load of fun. I played for like an hour. I got
throwing the knife as well.
Dude, terrible.
I love doing that.
Terribly sick though. Terribly sick. And it sucks because I know the game is awesome, but I can't. It's first the VR experience. I see the potential. But I hope one day maybe it's just because we just don't play games like that, Jan. We like the TV, man. That's just what we do.
I think that it is, yeah. We might be stuck in our ways.
Yeah, we're gonna be one of them old guys. We're not gonna move on with change. Like that's how you're gonna play your games from now on is through VR.
All right. Yeah, that's how kids play games these days, right? They put a fucking helmet on. Back in my day.
back in my day, we just needed a TV and a controller.
Yeah.
We were good to go. But yeah.
By the
So
way, guys, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut this short today.
okay.
Something unexpected came up. Like nothing too bad, but
okay. All right. Yeah.
We'll have to jump in like 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Oh Lord, that sucks, man. I couldn't get into my banishers discussion, man. I can't.
Okay, let's start again now. Tell me, just break it down to me right now.
All right. Well, I'll just end it right here. It's awesome. You should download it. It's pretty great.
It is. It's good.
Yeah, it's got me hooked.
Man,
yeah.
I was so jank.
Looks jank. What are you talking about?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe like a stuck clip from you, and I thought it looked jank, and I was ready to shit on it.
The combat. So the combat is so the clip you probably I posted on X. So Payne might have seen it as well. I posted like it was kind of like the first like hour, 2 hours that I played it. It is very stiff at first, but when you start unlocking more abilities, like you have way more abilities at your disposal. It's a lot of fun. It mimics more of God of War Ragnarok as you get a bit further into the game. I'm like 8 to 9 hours into it, and it feels pretty fluid. So I mean, that's definitely a recommend. The story's holding me pretty well. It's a good love story between a guy who's still living and a ghost, and so like you have to like
living anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, she dies. This is not a spoiler, by the way. But she dies at the beginning of the game, and you're trying to figure out, like, okay, do you let her go to the afterlife, whatever that is, or do you because like as a banisher, their whole thing is to banish spirits, to get rid of spirits and ghosts. And when your love of your life turns into a spirit, it's like, okay, the first instinct is, how do I bring them back, or is this it? Do I lose them forever? Do I bring them back? And so you have to make decisions with that. And I think it's riding, it's got a cool dynamic. So yeah, I recommend it. I won't go too much into it. I'm sorry, Jan, that you got to go here in a minute.
I am sorry I have to go, but thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah,
and,
I
I really enjoyed having this episode with you, Payne. Sorry that I had to cut it short, but
it's all good, man. You go ahead and do what you got to do. We probably won't go too much longer here, but we appreciate you as always, man.
You guys have fun, and I salute my fans.
Salute.
See you guys.
Salute.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, we won't keep you too much longer, man. But yeah, no, like it's I'm glad that I reached out to you, man. I've been kind of keeping an eye on some of your stuff, man. I mean, like real quick, and I don't know how much time you guys, so I don't want to keep you forever. But like, what kind of thing keeps you, because we were talking about before about content creation and streaming and having motivation to do things. What keeps you motivated to because like, and we won't go into specifics because we didn't go into specifics, but we both have been going through things in our personal life that maybe sometimes takes away from things that we really would like to do or have fun doing. So what keeps you motivated to do content things and streaming and things of that nature?
Well, I've been playing games since I was 3.5 years old, basically. So, like, I mean, just the gaming has been such a massive part of my life, and I've always rather liked to share the experience that I do with people. So that's more or less, see, I used to, back in 2005, that's more or less where my whole content career started. I just started making YouTube videos, and I made YouTube videos for like so many years up until 2018. And then a big streamer, actually, she's Irish too, reached out to me. Her name's Anti Tinkerbell. She told me that she watched a lot of my videos, and she thinks that I have more of a live stream type of feel to me. So I was like, okay, fair enough. So I went to try live stream. She was on a platform at the time called Mixer, which was owned by Microsoft at the time. And I started there. And yeah, after a while, I got a couple of hundred, well, not a couple hundred, but a couple of thousand people following me. I think it was about 3,000 or 4,000. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. I was like, I was fine with even just 100 people following me and a couple of people in the chat, like, you know, that sort of way, because they like some of the experiences I've seen, like obviously playing like the likes of Red Dead 2, giving it a shout out and stuff like that, like the bit at the end with Arthur and all that sort of stuff, like, you know what I mean? And then again, replaying Final Fantasy X when the HD remaster come out, playing that again on stream and all, and getting to that part at the end, and then crying and all that sort of stuff. Like, you know, people in the chat responding and like saying, "Oh my god, this is coming back to me," and all that sort of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? And of course, the whole making friends as well. Like, definitely networking is a big thing when you get to be a live streamer and stuff like that. And like, the more you get to know a lot of people and stuff like that, the more like being able to play games with them and stuff like that and all as well, you get a cool bond, a great connection. You can make a friend for life and all that sort of stuff. I mean, fair, like not everyone you meet's gonna be a friend. I mean, God forbid something might happen down the line or something that unfortunately you have to go separate ways or something like that. But there will be a good few people, and you got to cherish the memories you make when you make them and all. You know, that sort of way. So like, yeah, that's definitely like what keeps me going, is more like, you know, making friends, sharing my experiences with people, sharing my reaction and all with people to various stories and all that. And then just playing games in general, really, to be able to keep doing that and all as well is amazing. And do you know what I mean? So that's why I love it, really.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, that's something I've told Yana a bunch of times. Is so we've been going. So in March, that would make it 3 years since we started the Deadhead podcast. And one of my favorite things is really getting to know people that I would have never talked to in the first place. I mean, without the what is there's a YouTuber. His name is Boogie2988. I don't know if he's not familiar. And he's had some He's had some controversies over the past few weeks, 12 months, and things like that. But one of the things he says, coming at you again through the power of the internet. That's something he always says when he opens his videos. He's like, welcome back, coming at you live to the power of the internet. And it's really cool because, like, I get what he's saying. It's just like if it wasn't for the power of the internet, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. And it's I think being able to meet people like you, which you're, you know, I've really enjoyed talking to you, man. You're a very concise, well-spoken person. Having Emma on the show, shout out to Lyra. She's a big supporter of the show. We've had her a few times. We've had some really great guests, and there's several others we've had. My boy Emmett, things like that. That's what makes this fun. Like, I think honestly, this is the most fun that I have in any of this content creation YouTube thing, you know. And just to go off what you're saying about streaming, what I find is I actually have a harder time going live than making videos. And I know it doesn't seem that way because I'm pretty decent at talking to people and talking to you guys. But like I've tried to stream off Twitch before, and I feel like it's gone really bad. I feel like I stumble my words. I feel like I have a hard time figuring out what to say. So like, how are you? Seem like you adjust pretty well to that. I know the chat probably helps a lot with that too. But like, I mean, how do you do so well with that? Like, you're pretty decent in these things.
I just feel that like the camera is one of my mates, and we're just here chatting about crap and stuff and games and all that sort of stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, like back in the day, like I don't think I actually was ever really had a fear of being in front of the camera, because I've like for years, like when I was young and stuff, I went to college to do movie and film and TV production, and I did video game production and like video game design and all that sort of stuff and all. And like, I was always a big, massive film person. Do you know what I mean? I always wanted to get in front of the camera and, you know, do all these mad effects and all that sort of stuff, which I'm doing at the moment. And a lot of them are on my Instagram and stuff like that as well. But when I see live streaming and stuff like that, basically I'm just playing a game and like the chat's there and the chat's going nuts and stuff like that. And I just feel it's like I turn off how many viewers are in my chat. I turn off how many followers I have. I turn off anything that's going to distract me. Do you know that's the way? Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, only 3 people watched me today. It's like, so what? Do you know what I mean? Like, if even you get 1 person or 2 people in your chat that you can have a conversation with and you can vibe off with and you can talk about random stuff and all that sort of stuff, you do that with your mates at home, like on the couch and stuff like back in the day and all. You know, that's the way. And that's just what I keep thinking about is literally the camera right here is another one of my best buds, and I'm going to talk to it like I would as normal and stuff like that. And then I'll have a chat here and I kind of incorporate that as like the voice of the camera. You know, sort of way I'll talk back exactly what I'm seeing on screen and stuff like that. And then you just engage with it as you would, like if it's your mate sitting right there and you're playing a game, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Regarding your chat, now I don't know how many of these experiences you've had, but how do you handle like what's the best word here? Like
Trolls?
yeah, how do you handle trolls? Yeah, sure. That's where I mean, do you have many of those occurrences when you stream?
A few of them, but I literally dive into it. Like I stay positive. I'll like, you know, look a lot of the things and stuff like that. Like, you know, people would come in and go, "Oh, you're fat." I'd be like, "Yes, I am." You know, so I wouldn't give an absolute crap about what people want to say. Like, you know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. I know that's hard for a lot of people. You know, there's a lot of people who'd be very sensitive and stuff like that to that sort of thing and stuff like that. And I feel, but that's where you want to try and see if you're able to get like your mods to come in. Like if you can get someone who's like the best mod ever and stuff like that, you'd never have to worry about that stuff at all. Like, you know what I mean? I have a few mods. I understand they have their own lives. I never expect them to be in the chat always and stuff like that. But when they are and stuff like that kicks off, they'll do their thing. They'll start banning them and stuff like that. However, if someone says something like that, they wait till I see it first, because that's another thing. If you ever watch one of my bring it back to one of my friends, Anti-Tinkerbell, if you ever watch her with trolls in her chat, it's the funniest thing ever, because she'll take what they say and she will throw it back at them tenfold. And it's always hilarious to see her vibing with someone being an absolute troll in the chat. She will also try and educate them when they try and come in with the whole, you know, sexual harassment and stuff like that. She will basically like literally take it and start going to it. Now she will pause the game. She will put her controller down and say, "Why did you feel that you had to come in here to my chat and say that thing to me?" And then she'd wait for the response, and then she will pick it apart and educate them, saying, "Well, you know what's going to happen now? You're going to get banned. You're going to get reported. Your profile is going to get deleted. You're probably like every other profile that you're ever going to appear on Twitch, because Twitch like saves IPs and stuff. So if you get banned once or twice, something like that, any other account that IP creates will get insta-ban and stuff like that."
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And like she will literally like list off every little thing about it and stuff like that and tell them at the end, "You just be an absolute freaking idiot coming in here now doing this type of a thing." And then like you're basically, you know, you're just being the laughing stock of my day. Thank you so much. And then she'd ban them outright and all this sort of stuff. It's so funny to watch her work, and I always admire it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it just makes you think like what I mean, like what is I keep getting the same number calling my phone. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, it does make you think like I don't understand like what do people, you know, it's just like in everyday life, no matter you go to the grocery store or wherever, you're gonna have ugly people out there who just want to ruin someone else's day. It does make you think like why are you coming to my stream talking about whatever, my appearance or the way I talk or whatever? Like, why are you taking time out of your day to come on my stream? Like, we're not even talking about the game I'm playing. Like,
yeah,
what are we doing?
It's literally, one is like they've nothing else to do, nothing better to do. 2, they're madly jealous because they want to do that sort of stuff, but they're probably not like, you know, rich enough or something. Well, it's not even a rich hobby really to, you know, stream. Anybody can do it now with their Xbox and their PlayStation with a direct link to like Twitch and YouTube and all that sort of stuff. Really, you know what I mean? They just do whatever. And obviously, like, it's the whole thing about like, you know, it's the way like there's like what's wrong? Do you need a hug? Are you okay? Like, what's going on in your life that you have to come in and start going at me or going at anybody else in your day because you're having a shitty day or something like that? You know, it's sort of way. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, I feel, when people like to do these things and stuff like that. And then at the end of the day, if there's not, they're just idiot. They're just asshats, basically. It's not sort of like it's just plain and simple. Like people trying to get a rise out of you. It's like being a celebrity. Like you've probably seen like all these celebrities with the amount of like paparazzi in their face, trying to annoy the crap out of them to getting them to do something over the top so they can take a picture or record a video and sell that for mad money. That's exactly what they're trying to do as well. They're trying to get a rise out of you so big they can stick it on Reddit and Twitch and YouTube and all, and go, oh my God, look at what this happened. Look what happened. And that's another thing when you brought up Boogie and stuff like that. The guy who went to his house, like the fan that went to his actual house and stuff like that, to like ring on the door and all that crap, literally had the camera out to record him to get his reaction. And fair enough, Boogie I think came to the door with a baseball bat to get off his property and stuff like that. And too right, like, you know, that sort of way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, who is this person like coming in with a camera like to harass him and all that sort of stuff? Like, do you know what I mean? You don't do that. You don't just appear up at someone's house thinking they're like your friend and all this sort of stuff. Like, yeah, you might develop a connection and stuff like with these things and stuff like that, but you ask permission. You do not just go to that. Like, but I think Boogie handled that very well. But like as I said, your man took the video, uploaded it, and said, "Oh my God, look what Boogie did to me," and blah blah blah. And like everyone was like, "Oh my God, like Boogie, how could you do that?" But he was justified in every sense of the word of what he did and all that sort of stuff.
I agree with you, but one thing I will say is the one thing maybe. And this obviously, you know, depending on your opinion, but he did go inside to grab a gun and fire off a warning shot.
Yeah, okay, that was a bit much. That was a bit much. Yeah,
but besides that, yeah, definitely. I mean, and don't get me wrong, him grabbing the gun, he was just protecting himself. But the firing the warning shot, maybe you didn't have to do that. But but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, you know, it's funny you mentioned that because there was I never forget it. I think on the Dead, like right now we're sitting, I think 275 subs on the Deadhead 96 channel. At the time, I think I only had like 50 or 60 subs, and I made a video review because what I was trying to do with the channel at the time was I was doing it like half gaming, half films because I love movies, but I'm not as much into like the newer films. I like just like classics. I love the classic film series like horror franchises like Scream, Halloween, things like that. Well, I did a review on Scream 6 that came out in 2023, early on in 2023. And in the video, I talk about how I wasn't a fan of most of the characters. You know, there's 4 main characters. 2 of them happened to be of African-American descent. You know, so in the video, I said that my 2 of my least favorite characters was this and this character because of, and I gave my thoughts as to why I didn't really like them. It had nothing to do with the color of their skin or who they were. Anyway, I had someone comment on the video and said, it's funny how the only characters that you didn't like in the movie were black. Says a lot about you. I said, okay, well, obviously you didn't really hear what I said because I gave you a reason as to why I didn't like these characters. It's not, and my reasons had nothing to do. I thought it was funny. Like I didn't take it seriously. I was like, ha, and I shared the picture on the socials and I shared it with my family. And my sister told me, well, it looks like you're making it on YouTube now. I mean, now people are calling you racist. I'm like, I guess so. But it's just, yeah, I mean, people just don't have anything better to do, man. And it's a shame. But, you know, maybe that's also, too, a good sign of you doing a good job, man. Like I've stopped by on your streams. You're a very entertaining guy. Entertaining to the point of I don't ever feel it. And maybe you might tell me right now, you're playing a little bit of a character, right? But I mean, as far as how you are, you seem like a very genuine dude. I mean, that's one thing I mentioned about your most recent upload on your channel with the vampire game. I thought like your humor in that, you weren't trying super hard. It's not like you were, you know, trying to be funny just to try to get a laugh. It was just you, just normal conversation, trying to find ways to get into these people's houses. I thought that was a kicker, man. And I think that's very genuine of your personality. So, I mean, would you say like in your streams, are you, because we're all a little bit of a caricature of ourselves in our videos, things like that. But would you say that's mostly you, or do you say you put on a little bit more of a different face when you do streaming and things like that?
Funny enough, not really, to be honest. Like I've always kind of said to myself as like, should I put on a bit of a character? Because as I said, a lot of people kind of prefer those types of things. I mean, if you've probably like in Dashy's videos, he's like, what up? It's got to guarantee you when you meet him in real life, he's like the most chillest person ever.
Have you met him? Have you met him?
I haven't, but I've met.
Oh,
I know.
okay.
I used to know someone who knew him. Do you know that sort of way? And he wasn't as hyper as he is now. But like, it's literally like he probably saw how a lot of the like the bigger YouTubes and all, like even Jacksepticeye, you know, like the high five, like what? Oh, like he's like, what's the crack? Welcome back to this and yeah, and all. Do you know what I mean? So like that sort of thing. I mean, they're maybe not playing a character per se. They're probably trying to like be as hyped as they normally are. But they are alternating in a bit of their personality to try and, you know, get in with the whole algorithm and stuff like that, basically, of like hyperistic things and stuff like that. But no, when I'm on streams, that's just me, really. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a positive person. I'm quite hyper. When I'm playing a game I love and stuff like that, they'll come across and stuff. But like, there will be the odd stream now where I'll just kind of like, I'm tired or I'm annoyed at the game or something like that, and you'll see me just kind of sit there playing it and stuff, and I wouldn't really be talking as much and all. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be as hyperactive and stuff as you see me and stuff, and that's normally during the times like. I mean, obviously, you know, I work in a video game store, and like Christmas is such a bad time for this sort of thing as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so much stress and so much, like, you know, constantly on the go and stuff like that. So, but like, so during that time, I might be not as over enthusiastic and stuff like that. But when it comes into a new year, everything's real chill, everything's real kind of calm down and stuff. And then that, like, you'll see that hyperness and positivity and all coming back. So, yeah. I don't feel I'm playing too much of a character, but I'm just a positive, hyper kind of guy in general.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely see that. A very, very real, well-spoken guy. So I think you mentioned this before about how one of the things you enjoy about these remasters. You know, we were talking about remastered games before Jan left the show, and we were talking about you were saying that one of the things you loved about them is being able to revisit some of these games that you loved growing up and possibly streaming it for your viewers. My question for you is, do you think you more or less, do you enjoy the game more when you stream? So when you're streaming in front of people, do you enjoy a game more when you do that as opposed to playing by yourself? Or, I mean, which one would you, because obviously you stream a lot, but I mean, can that hanker the experience a little bit or to put a damper on the experience, like streaming in front of people, or is that how you prefer it?
It depends, really. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. So I got God of War, Ragnarok. I think it was like a day early or something like that because I ordered it online. And the second I went live, literally 2 people followed me, and their usernames were spoilers from the game, straight off the bat. Like, you know, that sort of way. Now, in my head, I was like, okay, I'm not going to let this get to me too much because. Yeah, they've spoiled it, but they haven't said how these things happen. Do you know that sort of way? Like, they've told me what happens, but they haven't said how it leads up to that or what actually happens or something like that. So that's where my mind kind of goes at in terms of that sort of thing and stuff. However, yes, I think when I'm sharing experience and stuff like that with people, like playing various games again and stuff like that, I'll start reminiscing, saying, oh, I remember playing this game back in the day. And like, oh, funny stuff happens. Because I remember when we were playing Resident Evil 2 Remake, the chat were all like, oh, this looks amazing. You know, this is great. This is just like the old day. And I started reminiscing about when I used to go to a friend's house who didn't live too far away from me, literally lived up the road and stuff like that. And I remember we were kids. We were like, I think, 14, 15 at the time, maybe a little bit younger, maybe 12 or 13. And we were playing Resident Evil 2 back then. And I was like, let's say when Nemesis like burst, not Nemesis, Mr. X burst out of the wall or something like that, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, you know, sort of way. And I think the mother was very religious back then because she was like, you know, if you swear like that one more time, I'm kicking you out of this house and all that sort of stuff. And like, I mean, look, that's fair. Like, I'm never go against anyone's the likes of religion or whatever. Like, you know, that sort of way. You do you. So I tried to stop it and all, but as you know, Resident Evil games have a tendency to make you jump and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, unfortunately, I said it again and I got kicked out of the house. But I never like said, oh, you know, what a B word and stuff like that. Yeah. I just said to myself, okay, look, that's fair. And then I went home and I played it myself, and I was like, oh wow, this game's amazing and stuff. And then so I was able to reminisce like that with chat and stuff like that, on stream, and we had a bit of a laugh about it, because I still laugh about it to this day. I was like, that's hilarious and stuff. I got kicked out of the house for saying Jesus Christ and all, in someone's house, and I was like, you'd never think about something like that, really. But then I was just like, that's hilarious, and to share those types of moments with chat and with stream and stuff like that, even just moments that ever happened to me in general, sort of the way, like weird moments and stuff like that. I feel I enjoy it a lot more playing games like that when you're talking to someone, reminiscing about old times and all. It just brings the hypeness up a bit more. And then when you get to certain areas of the game, like specifically Final Fantasy X, where the first time meeting Seymour, or like the ending, or like the first time like seeing the Aeons come out and stuff like that, you could be like, oh, I remember back in the day when I first saw this, my jaw just dropped and all, and it still kind of does to this day every time I play it and all as well. So yeah, there's various aspects about it where like it's so much better. But I don't think there's ever really been a time where I've just been playing another game and I've been fairly down about ever playing it again. Unless you're talking about Resident Evil 3 remake, we're not going to talk about that. Shove that to the side, But that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah. No, I think that's really cool, man. See, I have an issue with that because, like, for me, like the times that I have streamed, and it's been a handful of times, I have to play a game I've already played before. Like with you with Final Fantasy X. Now I know you're also playing it to witness these story moments again. I get all that, but like for me, like I'd have to play. Like I was playing Days Gone, I think on a stream one time, and I played like a few missions just because I've already beaten the game. I was like, well, let me just go ahead and play it. But I have the issue. Like I'm playing Banishers right now. It's a very story focused game. And I get aggravated when my wife, she means nothing by it, but you'll see something, she'll be on her phone or her iPad. And I'm usually sitting kind of close by her when I'm playing the game, because I'm an old man and I play on a flat screen in the living room. And so I'm playing the game, and she'll try to show me stuff on her phone and her iPad. And I know she doesn't mean anything by it. She's just showing me what she scrolled by or what video she saw. But I'm like, I have to pause the game, and I'm like, all right, show me. Like, and I'm like frustrated because I get so invested into these worlds, man. Like I don't know if it's like a problem with me or if that's just how I am. When I get invested into these worlds and stories, and Banishers has that vibe, like this world that you want to be a part of, and it's a story that's so interesting. I don't want to be bothered, and I feel like if I'm playing a game like that, it'd be really hard for me to like, because I think you do a good balance of it, but I also feel like I am trying to be entertaining to a certain degree. So if I have the chat over here and I see that popping up and then a really good part of the game, I just feel like I would not be as interesting. But then I see a lot of streamers who don't talk that much, who just turn on the camera and play. And like you said you'll have times like that where you won't say much, just play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just hard for me I almost get annoyed by people trying to talk to me while I'm trying to play the game, but that's just I don't stream, so I
100% get that. But the way I look at it though is basically like you can pause it, like you said, like you're able to pause it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Those moments can be frozen in time, basically. But like the moment of her trying to show you something funny and all that sort of stuff can't really be paused. That sort of way. So I always kind of look at it saying, why not take a couple of seconds? Like when someone, let's say, comes in and follows me or raids or something like that, I'll pause the game and I'll interact with them for a couple of minutes, sort of way. So I'll be like, how's it going? How's things? Like, like depending on the game, if it's a survival game where there's no real story and it's never ending and stuff like that, I'll keep playing while I'm talking. But if it's a story-based game and I kind of want to get invested in stuff like that, someone invests, I'll pause the game and I'll be like, and I have a conversation. So how are you? How did you find me? Like, are you playing this game right now? What games are you playing, et cetera, and stuff like that. And then I go, all right, now back to the game. And we just keep going. And I have all these wacky commands that people do and stuff like that in the stream and all that sort of stuff as well. Sometimes I will admit there were a few times where like you'd be listening to a story part and then someone would dream something and you're like, wait, what did he say? So a lot of times I will turn on subtitles, sort of way. So you don't necessarily miss a lot of key words and stuff like that. But I also kind of do it as well for the chat benefit as well. Because a lot of people would prefer to have the subtitles on and all as well. So I don't mind doing that as well, really. But no, I do know what you mean though. Back in the day when I originally started the games and stuff like that, you never really wanted to be bothered by anything. You wanted to just sit there and play through the game because it's your first time experiencing it. It's like a movie. Like, I know movies are only 2.5 hours long. Games can be up to 60 hours long these days and stuff like that. But you want to see what happens next and all that sort of stuff, especially in TV shows and all as well. You're like, why do I gotta wait another week? I want to see what happens now and all as well, you know. But yeah, no, I can understand where you're coming from, because back in the day I was like the same thing as well, playing the likes of Mortal Kombat or like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, etc., etc. Anytime you were called for, like, you had to go out, you had to go to school, you had to go dinner and all that sort of stuff, you're like, oh. But again, I just keep thinking to myself, oh, good, well, at least I can pause the thing and then I'll just come back to it and eventually, you know, sort of way. And I just started kind of trying to develop that mindset of like, things can be paused, things can be replayed. If I can't pause the game, I'll like load back up the last checkpoint and just continue from there. That type of thing, really. Do you know that sort of way? But that's just me, really.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I mean, and you know, I know it's as easy as that. And pausing the games, I think it, for me, it like breaks the immersion, because I get so immersed in some of these games. Yeah. And so when I have to pause it, it's like, oh God. And it's like, and then I have to kind of get myself back into where I left off. But one thing I'll also bring to just to ask you as well is, like, one reason why I really lean more into like making videos and making more of content as opposed to the streaming part is that when I now this might be, you might not be able to see this from the conversation we're currently having, but I screw up a lot when I'm talking. Sometimes I'll clear my throat in the microphone, or I'll sneeze or cough or something like that. And I hate it when I do that. And one thing that's great about making videos is I can edit that part out. I can edit when I cough. I can edit when I sneeze. I can edit when I say something that sounds like unintelligent anyway. When you're doing your streams, I mean, you seem, again, just, and I don't mean to keep saying it, but you seem like a well-spoken person. I mean, you obviously have to train yourself to be that way, to not screw up. Yeah. I mean, do you screw up a lot when you're just talking about whatever?
Not anymore, thankfully. There were times, and I even got this from my parents and other people as well. I kept going, I kept saying a lot, you know, sort of way. And then eventually, after going to the likes of conventions and stuff like that and bringing fun to people and all, you just find that you can literally just start talking and you just won't shut up then. You know, sort of way. So, like, instead of me going, nowadays, I just, you know, you just kind of, it's just boom, it's there in my head, and you're chatting and you're talking. And that's more or less what a lot of people do as well when they come into streams. They'd like to see the streamer talking about, they should be talking about crap, or they could be talking about the game, they'd be talking about like life in general or something like that. And that's what people would prefer, to kind of sit there and listen to something. Like, a lot of times people would like put on a stream and then go do, let's say, chores, or they go and maybe do their homework or something like that, depending if like it's in college or whatever, like, you know what I mean, assignments and all that sort of stuff. They literally, it's like a podcast, it's like this, what we're doing right now. People would like to just literally turn that on and just listen to someone, you know, sort of way. But if you're there just kind of sitting there, not really engaging or something like that, and just playing the game and all, they'd be like, oh, this guy's not really talking at all, so like I'm just gonna leave it or something like that. So that's why when I originally started back again, as I'm saying, I was like, a lot of people don't want to hear that. They try and want to hear you just constantly talk and stuff like that. So I just kept trying to think again in that mindset, saying, stop saying try and have something to talk about, try and have something in your mouth to say. And if you are saying something, try and think ahead in a way about what you're about to say and stuff like that, so you can try and keep the conversation going. And then when you're talking about something specific, is there something side to that you can continue talking about something to the side of that again? Like, you know, sort of way. It's like, oh, back in the day, I remember I had a PS2. And then I also was playing the game Kingdom Hearts. And Kingdom Hearts, funny thing about Kingdom Hearts is, you know, I started off and I picked the sword because, you know, it's a sword. I didn't want to pick like this rod or whatever it was called, or shield, because that's not like the fighter's aspect or something like that. So yeah, it's just little small things that you can kind of pick from a story that you can kind of like talk about more and stuff. And that just keeps it going, really.
Right, and I mean that's what we do a lot on the Deadhead podcast. Me and Jan, we'll be talking about something. One of us say something, and then before you know it, it's like this tree. This like every branch, it branches off of this one little small topic that we had brought up. Funny story. One thing that me and Jan would say a lot. And I noticed that I was saying it in a lot of my videos, and I'm so glad that I've stopped saying it because, and you might get a kick out of this one. For some reason, like me and Jan had a bad habit of saying, I just want to come on the camera here and talk to you guys. Well, I kept saying come on the camera. And I kept saying that a lot. And I was going back through my videos because I was making a compilation and I'm listening and I heard it like twice in my videos. I'm like, do I say that a lot? I went back to like several videos and I'm saying, yeah, I'd like to come on the camera. I'd like to come on the camera. I'm like, please stop saying that. So now it's like a little joke that we say, like, we need to stay far away from that. Just say, just wanted to talk to you guys about blah, 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 instead of saying I came on the camera because that just sounds awful.
I get that.
Yeah. And we were both saying it, and when we noticed that we were saying it, it was really funny. But it was just like, I can't believe we went this long and said we're coming on the camera every time. It's so like it was just really obnoxious. At the end of the day, late 20s still think sixth grade humor is funny. But yeah, no, this has been good to learn more about you, man. What real quick, we'll kind of end it here in a few minutes, but what are some things you like outside of playing games, or anything else that you enjoy doing, anything you collect, or what you got?
Yeah, like I like I said, I love doing like films, and I did animation as well. I did a sprite animation. I did like an hour and 18 minutes long animation of Mortal Kombat, and I took a lot of Mortal Kombat jokes and a lot of various memes and stuff like that, and kind of stuck them in to animation. That took 3 years to finish. Now, the first year I wanted to get like loads of different voices involved. I think I had something like 50 voices or something. So I was like, okay, I'm going to wait till I get all the voices together so I have everything so I can just go and do it. Then the second year, COVID happened. And I was like, oh, it's great. I'm not working and all. I can do it whenever. I can just leave it there. I'll just keep playing games with the lads and play D&D and whatever else with them and all as well. And then it was literally like, oh, yeah, so COVID's dying now and you're going back to work. I was like, ah, crap. And then literally the third year, I was like, okay, right, I'm going to sit into this now and physically do it. And a lot of the stuff that I had made previously that I redid. And it came out so funny for those who know a lot of the jokes and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of it was very funny and all as well. And now we're working on a new animation, which again, I'm procrastinating with because I started it before Christmas, which was such a bad time to do it because Christmas then happened and I didn't have any time to do it. But to give you an idea of it, basically, it's called Campfire Tales, okay? And it's basically, we're going to pick random characters from all sorts of games throughout the gaming verse. So let's say one of them could be Samus Aran, Cloud Strife, and the Ninja Gaiden Ryu Hayabusa. And literally they'd be sitting around a campfire chatting like ghost stories, basically. Let's say one of them was talking about did you hear about this island full of dinosaurs? It's weird. It's out somewhere like in the middle of the ocean. And one of them would be like, that's so stupid. That's not even real and all that sort of stuff. And then that particular thing will happen to that person and they'll end up going and then they'll die, unfortunately. So that's a little sneak peek of what the whole animation is going to be. So like, yeah, they'll go on to Isla Nublar for some unknown reason and they'll get eaten by a T-Rex or something like that. Yeah. And then we have an idea for the end of season 1. I won't say it yet. We have an idea for the end of season 1, which will kind of bring it into a season 2, and then have a kind of a bit of a story to it as well, like behind the scenes. It's not just random people meeting up at a campfire and then telling ghost stories, and these ghost stories happen to someone. Someone is going to be pulling the strings, and I'm not going to say who, and I'm not going to say why for, and all that sort of stuff. But like, yeah, it's going to be very funny when I eventually get down to it and actually do it. You know, that sort of way. And I like, as I said, I like filming. Back in the day, I used to always grab the lads, and I have a film YouTube called Payne Train Productions, because I was called Payne Train back in the day.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of funny short films. I did some short trailers for the company I work with for some of the games. We did like some like a Need for Speed The Run. We did like a Battlefield where I had like an airsoft sniper rifle, and we were up in where the place I work, and we were pretending to snipe and all that sort of stuff and all as well, which is really cool. We did a Mass Effect one down on the beach, and I had to get like Garda clearance for that and all as well, because I brought a lot of my airsoft guns, and they're like, "What guns are you using?" And there's going to be any sort of stuff. I was like, "No, don't worry." I said, "You can bring a patrol down." Yeah, there was a patrol there while we were filming and all this sort of stuff. But they were fun. While they were doing that as well. So yeah, filming, animation, and just socializing really with the lads and all, going out and meeting up with them and watching movies and going to all sorts of like retail parks and all, just kind of dozing around really.
Yeah. No, those are awesome hobbies, man. Hey, by the way, if you need some voice work done, man, you can come my way. I can give you some good voice work, man. Just let me know. I'll send you a demo tape.
Oh, absolutely, because this is going to prolong a good number of seasons, so we're going to need a lot of voices. So if you have Discord, definitely just join my Discord, because there's an animation voice tab there where people can go, "I want to do this," and I was like, "Grand," and I'll take it and I'll say, "Can you do this character?" Well, I actually give people the opportunity. I'll say, "I need voices for these characters. Who wants them?" And the first person to get to me, and I'll say, "Okay, yeah, take a clip of that character and let me hear your voice and let me see how you sound. And if they can sound kind of something like the character, or if I can kind of edit their voice in a way that sounds something like the character, or even like as funny as the character I have in my head, I'll pick it, sort of way." So definitely.
Good deal. Well, if you got like a side villain or anything like that, man, I've always wanted to do some kind of villainous type work. I'm looking into those kinds of things now, trying to do some more. I've been told I have a really good reading voice, a good just voice for all. I'm trying to do multiple things, commercials and anime stuff and things like that. I want to get into that world. I'm dabbling in it a little bit, but nothing crazy. But you need some voice work, man. I mean, I'll give you a demo tape.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll hit you up.
No, that was cool, man. Well, I think we'll go ahead and end it right here, man. I appreciate this. Has been a really good conversation. I'm sorry Jan had to leave unexpected. I'm gonna check on him here in a few minutes and make sure he's okay. But I appreciate you taking the time to come on the Deadhead podcast, man. It's been a blast. Hopefully maybe you'll want to swing by and talk to us again. It was a good time.
Absolutely. Hit me up whenever you want. If I'm free, I'm so down.
That's good. Well, what I'll say with that, thank you guys for checking out another episode of the Deadhead Podcast, episode 42. We're almost episode 50, and I can't believe it. Super excited. I know a lot of our viewers check out the streams later when they're up on our YouTube channel. So if you missed anything that we talked about, you can check it out on our YouTube channel. I'll also try to cut it up in clips and put it on our TikTok pages, Instagram, X, and all that stuff. Don't forget, you can also follow us on Apple Podcasts. Right now, I can only put the podcast on Apple Podcasts. I can't do Spotify yet. Maybe down the road we can do that. I have up to episode 23, I believe, on Apple Podcasts. I'm really behind. I haven't had a whole lot of time to do it. It's such a long process downloading all these, but I will get there. So if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, I appreciate checking us out. Jan will be back here the following week. I believe our next episode is First Impressions of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I know we are super excited for that, and I hope you guys are as well. So, Payne, anything you want to say to the people, what you got going on, your channel, all that other stuff, if you just want to let our viewers and your viewers know what you got going on and things of that nature.
Well, hey, if anyone out there wants to do any voice work, like he was saying, you definitely hit me up, because I'm going to be needing a lot of voices for these series coming up over the next while. Anyway, when I eventually get around to doing it, I'm just going to keep putting that in there, because I'm such a procrastinator half the time. But yeah, no, what have I got coming up in the channel? We've got a lot of stuff. We've got Cyberpunk 2077 that we're going to be playing. Yeah, I haven't. I was very looking forward to that. Then I heard about the problems, and I was like, okay, I'll hold off for a bit. And now apparently everyone's loving it, so I've downloaded.
Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Yeah, and then Alan Wake 2. I haven't played that yet, but we will be getting into that as well because I loved the first one. I didn't know if I would love the first one because I didn't really get into it back in the day on the Xbox. I was like, what the hell is this? But then I actually gave it a proper go, the remastered version on the PlayStation, and it was really good. Yeah. I really enjoyed it, and the fact that it's in the Control world. The world of Control, that game. I played Control, thought that was really cool. So I was like, oh, it's interesting. So yeah, that's coming down the line. And then what else? Obviously, Final Fantasy Rebirth eventually. And yeah, so they're the big things happening at the moment. We're also working on a load of effect redeems for the stream as well. I don't know if you've ever seen them. I think I talked about this a little bit back in the thing. They're on my Instagram, they're on my TikTok and all as well. So basically, you'll come on, whoever raids or follows or tips or whatever, I'll basically bring them to a screen and I'll be like, so what way would you which one of these would you like to use magic? And I think there's a sword, there's a gun, there's a wand, there's a staff. We're going to be doing the likes of tarot cards. We're going to be doing like magic idols. We're going to be doing all the crystal balls, all sorts of stuff. And then basically I'll get them to pick a certain spell or something that they're going to use. And then it's going to be a video of me pretty much killing myself in a glorious way of that particular thing. So one of them is like, you've obviously played Final Fantasy X, yeah?
Yeah.
So, Yojimbo, his Zanmato move?
Yeah.
That was one I had an idea for the sword. So basically, you come in and the thing comes up saying that they're going to pay me like 23,000 gil, and I'm like, you're paying me how much? Oh, dude, you're getting the best move ever. And then I go into this whole thing of the Zanmato and the sword coming up from the ground and grabbing it, and then I basically slice myself in two and all. So it's great fun anyway. But that's more or less what I got going on with the channel at the moment anyway. But obviously more stuff to come because I don't plan on not doing this anytime soon.
That's great, man. Well, like I said, all of Payne's information should be in the comment section. If not, I will be sure to add that before I cut it out for the evening. But again, thank you, Payne, for coming on the show. We really appreciate you. Hope to see you back soon. Hopefully we'll have Emma back on here. I want to hear her thoughts on Last of Us Part 2. So I'll be reaching out to her. She's probably waiting for that message because I've been like leaving hints like, oh, you're getting closer. You're getting closer. Like I'm seeing her episodes come out on YouTube. I'm like, oh, you're almost there. Oh, don't stop. Hey, finally. So she's been playing it for 7-8 months now. So I'm excited to see her thoughts on it. But it's been real good talking to you, man. You're got a great personality. I wish you will. I wish the channel will. And I hope to see you back on the Deadhead podcast in the near future, brother. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out the episode, whatever you missed. Check out previous episodes. They're all on our YouTube channel. And with that being said, we'll see you in the next one. Stay dead, my friends.